welcome to this edition of the Biker Angle. It is 10/21 of 2018. Hopefully you guys are having a great Sunday. Yesterday's live stream was something else. Going back on that one question, does 420 impede your thoughts? A little bit. So I got to give that guy maybe 20% of the credit. But hey, Bio Jesus, it sends you to Jesus, let me tell you, man. There's freaking Buddha, and then there's Jesus, man. And this shit sent me to see Jesus, let me tell you. But anyway, I would like to thank everybody that donated to Neon's fundraiser. Long Rider, again, bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough for all you do for the channel and everything you've done for Neon. Also, I like to thank Patrick Connor, Shane McGowan, and then there was an anonymous donation. Really appreciate that. And my favorite debate partner, Ant. Now, Ant is my girl. Let me tell you, she keeps me honest on this channel, and she always keeps my head to the ground when it comes to politics and all that good stuff. You know, I'm the right winger, she's the left winger, and hopefully one of these days we can meet in the middle. But that's one good thing about it, at least we know how to debate, unlike this country now. But right now, we're gonna get into some big freaking news, you know, and then later on we'll get into, of course, Ask Hollywood, and then we'll get into the haters saying, I only got one today, and I feel fucking pretty bad, because usually I get more than that, so I'm slacking. But today's news, we're going to talk about how Harley-Davidson, you know, a lot of bikers have been boycotting them. And it's driving a lot of people towards Indian right now, and Trump backing that boycott. So we're going to have a video after I go into this little news segment, and it's from Fox News, and there's also one from CNBC that you can see on Insane Throttle Biker News' website. But you'll actually see how Harley-Davidson was in the late 70s, 80s when they needed the government's help, how Reagan backed them, how they got a 45% tariff leveled against them. And you'll also, because I know a lot of the Harley guys, now listen, I rode Harley-Davidsons my whole life, owned dozens upon dozens of the damn bikes. And I always hear how Harley's number one this, Harley's number one that. Well, it's true, 50% of the big bike market is Harley-Davidson. But it's not the biggest company in the world that sells motorcycles. That honor actually goes to Honda. And you'll see in the sales figure, you'll be like doing a double take like I did. I was like, huh? No way, I never knew that shit. But Harley-Davidson, I think, sold 252,000 units, where Honda worldwide sold over 17 million. So to say Harley-Davidson's the biggest there is, that's just not the case. But let's head into this a little bit. And I know a lot of people, because I have been seeing it, have been going to Indian. And I got to admit, Indian's got some badass bikes coming on, man. The Dark Horse, number one of them being. So anyway, controversy over Harley-Davidson's production plan, spurred on by President Trump's support for a boycott, may be driving riders to the brand's top U.S. rival, according to new research published this past Friday. So it's only 2 days old, this report. BMO Capital Markets analyst Jarek Johnson said Indian motorcycle dealers had reported an uptick in Harley-Davidson trade-ins in the 3 months after Trump took on Harley-Davidson over its announcement that it will shift some productions overseas in response to European tariffs on U.S.-made bikes. What Harley-Davidson didn't tell you was it was already planning to do this shit a year before. So it had nothing to do with the 25% tariffs on aluminum steel. That was just a bullshit trying to go away around it and using Trump and his unpopularity in the media to try to give him a boost. But blue-collar workers and bikers aren't stupid and don't fall for that kind of bullshit. Anyway, the bank lowered its price target for Harley-Davidson shares to $45 from $52 and downgraded the stock to market perform from outperform. That's a big freaking deal if you hold stocks. Quote, the overlap between Donald Trump's supporters and Harley riders is significant. Thus, It is disconcerting to have the president call on these consumers to boycott the brand. Johnson wrote in a note sent to clients, quote, in response to new European tariffs on American motorcycles, Hog may have had the right financial intentions, but the way it communicated its strategy was a public relations debacle. Yeah, you can say that when the CEO of Harley-Davidson comes out and says, Made in America really don't matter anymore. It's about freedom. Yeah, bullshit. Johnson also noted that Indian has become a bigger threat to Harley-Davidson than previously anticipated. Though still trailing Hogs in the U.S. market, Indian now controls about 7% of the heavyweight motorcycle market. According to BMO, Harley-Davidson said its U.S. market share was 48.4% in the second quarter. Now, remember that. The market share of big bikes. You know, you're talking glides, you're talking freaking, the $50,000 bullshit ones, full on baggers. But that's only one segment of the motorcycle market. So you can't go around and say, hey, they own 50% of the market. It's only in one segment. The spokesman for Harley-Davidson didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The Milwaukee-based company is scheduled to report earnings Tuesday. Polaris, the parent company of Indian, will report their earnings Monday. So, that's the scoop from the Fox side of things, but I want you to watch this video.
Harley-Davidson was heading towards bankruptcy. After half a century of being the biggest name in town, its quality control had taken a serious dive. And Japanese motorcycle brands were breathing down its neck. Brands like Honda had entered the U.S. market with small, around-town motorcycles, but as time went on, the bikes got bigger and started to dominate. Harley went from having a 75% market share of heavy bikes in the early 70s to just 25% in the early 80s. Harley executives knew they needed a plan. So in 1981, they bought out the company from then-owner AMF and launched an ambitious turnaround strategy. They shrunk the workforce by 40%, redesigned bikes, upped the quality, and then they reached out to the International Trade Commission for a little help with the competition. In 1983, President Reagan responded. He raised tariffs on large motorcycles coming into America by 45%.
You asked us to give you breathing room so you could finish getting into shape to meet unexpectedly strong foreign competition. It was like giving a boxer a few extra weeks of training before a fight. We looked at you carefully. We asked, is Harley-Davidson's really serious about getting into shape? And the answer came back a resounding yes.
With this edge on the Japanese competition, Harley would make a historic comeback. By 1987, it was listed on the New York Stock Exchange, and by 1989, it reclaimed nearly 50% of the heavy bike market. So how do they stack up now? Well, let's put it this way. In 2017, Harley-Davidson sold over 240,000 bikes worldwide. In that same year, Honda sold over 17.6 million. Now, Harleys are on average a bit more expensive than Hondas, and those higher prices are helping them to post profits. But those sales numbers did mark a drop from the year before, whereas Honda saw a rise. Consumers are trending towards smaller, lighter bikes, and sales in Harley's biggest markets are not expected to reach anywhere near those of other parts of the world. The US represents 65% of Harley sales. Its next biggest market includes Europe at about 16%. So with EU tariffs increasing by 25% in 2018, Harley's getting a taste of what the Japanese bike makers got in the 1980s. And this time, they may not have the president on their side. Like Reagan before him, President Trump at first praised Harley-Davidson, but plans to ship more production out of the country to ease the cost of the tariffs struck a nerve.
Harley-Davidson is using that as an excuse, and I don't like that because I've been very good to Harley-Davidson, and they used it as an excuse, and I think the people that ride Harleys are not happy with Harley-Davidson, and I wouldn't be either.
Trump blasted them on Twitter, even saying he would work with Harley's competition. So why is Harley so wrapped up in this trade war? If you just looked at the numbers, the company probably wouldn't be in your sights. And those EU tariffs are also hitting much bigger American companies like Levi's and Jack Daniels. But through its 115-year history, Harley has held a special place in America's heart. With changing tariffs and a seemingly unpredictable president, the rally cry from Harley's 80s comeback feels ever more fitting.
And I bet you didn't know that either. 17 million bikes, man. Holy shit, that's a lot of bikes. And the market is growing in Asia. As you've seen, it way outdoes North America. But maybe Harley-Davidson should take a playbook out of Honda. Lower the damn prices. And people, I know, well, you know, them rice burners, shit like that, blah, 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 blah. Well, the younger generation don't care about the shit that we used to care about, man. They weren't even alive or went through half the shit of this Japan, the Allied shit in World War II where nobody wanted to buy Jap bikes. But you gotta admit, Hondas, Cows, freaking Yamaha, Suzuki's, they make some badass bikes, man. I used to have a Mean Streak. I love a Mean Streak, man. I'm going to get one of those again, after I get an Indian. I'm going to keep this fat boy forever, never going to get rid of it. But I'm going to go with Indian for my main bike, and then I'm going to have the Mean Streak for a little side fun type of bike. But kids these days don't care about all that bullshit that we used to. It's a whole new deal now. If you look at what on Motorcycle Madhouse, episode 57, I just did this one. We had a younger guy who got rid of his Jap bike, always wanted a Harley-Davidson. Walks into the Fort Worth Harley-Davidson dealer, expecting a pre-certified bike, that it was going to be all good and all that bullshit. Well, he's had nothing but freaking problems with the bike, and all the dealership did was freaking jack him off and send him on his fucking way. And hopefully he gets shit fixed with them, and this does go out to the Fort Worth Harley-Davidson dealership. Maybe you want to take care of your customers, because they are freaking going to Indian in droves right now. And why not? It's, it's a decent price bike, and it looks good, and it runs good, and they have American pride. Maybe you want to tell your CEO to get back to that American pride. So after this quick video, we'll go into Ask Hollywood and the message to the haters. But this is somehow the way the media's playing this.
Of Harley-Davidson, down more than 4% today, second worst performer on the S&P, after President Trump came out in support of a boycott against the company, tweeting yesterday, many Harley-Davidson owners plan to boycott the company if manufacturing moves overseas. Great. Most other companies are coming in our direction, including Harley competitors. A really bad move. U.S. will soon have a level playing field or better.
This is the latest in the dispute between President Trump and Harley over tariffs on steel. And joining us now, Republican Congressman Jim Renacci. He's also a former owner of a Harley dealership, and there he is.
Apparently rides around the Capitol.
And he joins us now. Congressman, very good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Congressman, what's your take as to which of these two outcomes is more likely? That customers will depart from buying Harley bikes, or that those same customers will not vote for President Trump in the upcoming midterms?
Well, look, I'm a big believer that Harley is an iconic brand. As you know, I'm an enthusiast, I'm a rider. But at the same time, we have some unfair trade deals where Harley is not able to sell its motorcycles overseas. And it's one of the reasons why it's not about the tariffs, the reason why they're moving production overseas. It's to get around not about the tariffs that President Trump has put out. It's about the tariffs that the other countries have on a motorcycle that's produced here and sold overseas. So I understand why Harley-Davidson's doing it, but I also understand what the president is saying at the same time was we have to make sure we can keep that iconic brand here. So in the end, I think voters are happy with the direction we're going. I know here in Ohio, as I'm running for Senate, people are talking about, you know what, the economy's growing, we got to keep moving this economy forward. They're happy with it. They're a little uncomfortable with tariffs, but at the same time, they're comfortable with the president making sure that he's negotiating in the best interest. And remember, this president has said, I'd like to eliminate tariffs on both sides. We would, people here in Ohio, manufacturers and employees, we'd love probably to see that because we have the best manufacturing here in Ohio and some of the best employees who'd be able to compete worldwide.
So do you support the president endorsing a boycott of Harley-Davidson?
Well, look, I support the president's policies of moving forward. In the end, people will make that decision on their own as to whether they boycott or not. I wish I had more time to ride my Harley, then I could make a better decision as to whether I was going to boycott it or not.
Okay, I'll rephrase. Would you buy a Harley-Davidson if it were not made in this country? And by the way, Harley-Davidson says that its motorcycles that are sold in this country are going to be made in this country. But if they do move production overseas, would you boycott?
Well, no, because here again, we have motorcycles being produced here in this country, and it's a good production. The problem is they can't compete overseas. That's why I say this is an issue about a business making decisions to go overseas long before the president ever started about talking about tariffs, because they needed to be able to compete against the tariffs that are being charged when they sell a bike overseas. So in the end, Harley's making a decision in the best interest of Harley and the shareholders.
So, Congressman, tidy up for us what the president should have said that would have been an accurate criticism of who's in the wrong here. What did he get wrong in his tweet?
Well, look, I think the president's frustrated, like most people here in America, where people are moving overseas. They're moving their businesses. But I think what he's trying to say is, right now, we have a great economy here. The economy's growing at 4.1%. Businesses are reinvesting in America. Harley, please increase your business here, and we're going to fix these tariffs long run. I think that's what he would really like to do.
Yeah, you really think that he's going to come out against Trump? You're freaking fooling yourself. You've seen that Bikers for Trump flag, which is a great group, man. Love the guys. I actually got to interview Chris Cox, real good guy. His interview's over on Motorcycle Madhouse. So you can see that the biker base is really behind Trump in these tariffs, because a lot of us are behind unions, and the steel and aluminum tariffs were there to help them. So, as you know, it was next to nothing, the steel industry. They were almost gone because everything was overseas. So, yeah, I support the tariffs myself. And Harley-Davidson, you better get your shit together, because if you don't, you're going to be put on the outside looking in. Anyway, let's get to Ask Hollywood. And this is from Not Your Father. He's a real good follower of the channel and brought up a great question that let's address real quick. I got interested in what this 1%er club scene was about. I think I've somewhat got the grasp of what they say it's about, Brotherhood. Well, when even in your own words, and I do say this, out of 3 people there is 2 rats, end quote. So if you don't trust your brother, then he is not your brother. Secondly, they say it's about motorcycles. Well, you can't ride your motorcycle in prison. Then there is club people defending it, trying to say most of the club guys are people who want to live out social norms of the law, looking at in a one extreme. Then there is the media looking at it in their extreme, that they're all thugs on bikes. I don't think either side is right. I think each side wants to believe it's right. The reason it is motorcycle profiling is because of the action of clubs in the past and present. I do admit the media blows it out of proportion, but, quote, club on club wars, end quote, have happened. I think that's what he was saying, and still happen. And obviously there is still drug dealing going on in almost every indictment. I've read something about distribution, manufacturing, illegal drugs have been on it. Not trying to troll anybody or disrespect anybody's way of life, but would like somebody to give me their opinion. And that's a great question. And that's something I addressed in the video, I think a couple days ago, about how the actions of some motorcycle clubs make it harder for guys like me to go out there and protect them. But let's get to the brotherhood question first. When you get into a club and your intention is to make money off your club behind their back, and there's a lot of people out there that they've actually written books about the shit, about how their club didn't know about them making the money, and they even said, I have 2-year fucking plans, bullshit. Anyway, but when you get into the kind of situation that some of these people do, then yeah, the street rules apply. You gotta look at everybody as suspects. You gotta look at them as a rat, because you're out there going against the norm and you're trying not to get caught. And I think that's mostly what I try to say when it comes to the street shit. You got 3 people there in a group. You're only going to be able to trust one, and one is that. Because nowadays, the jail sentences are 25 to life. They're no longer 5-10 years where somebody can take the fall. No, it ain't like that anymore, man. The feds have ramped it up, and you'll be lucky to get somebody to back your play if you get caught. A lot of people don't stick to the old ways of doing stuff, man. It used to be shut your mouth, and that was it. Basically, you get busted, you give them your name, your freaking birth date, and can I have my freaking lawyer? Now, a lot of these guys are living off the dream of the women, the drugs, and all that bullshit when they are into it. And I'm not saying clubs are in it as a whole, because I'm not, because I don't believe that's true. I believe that it's certain people in the club, there's a small percentage involved in that kind of shit, and yeah, it reflects badly on the club, and I have always said that kind of shit, and sometimes the officers might want to step up and enforce those bylaws. Hey, if you're doing some stupid shit that's gonna get fucking us RICO'd or stuff, get the fuck out of here, because we don't need that kind of shit. I remember as a Piston, the rules were, and these were strict fucking rules, you didn't do shit that can bring shit onto the club. They wanted no part of that shit, nor have they ever asked me to do anything illegal. People who do it on their own thing, and they usually do it against what the club wants. And I can give examples. One guy wrote a fucking book. You guys know who the hell he is. Over there acting like a wannabe fucking gangster. Fucking joke, really. Boy, do I have information I should release, but I'm keeping that on the down low right now until it needs to be. But, well, I used to do this and do that and do this and do that. The club never knew a damn thing about what he was freaking doing. And if they did, like they said, they would have kicked his ass to the curb a lot earlier. So, yeah, that's what I mean about the 3 out of the 2 or 1 out of the 3 are rats. Is if you get in that kind of business on the streets, you got to look at that kind of shit, man. Because now you're not playing the normal game. But let's go on to your next one. Let's see here. Yeah, Insane Throttle does do a lot of stories where you see clubs in a bad light. I hate that, but it's news and that's what we cover. Most of the time, you don't see the good that comes out of the biker community. You don't see all the charity runs, the fundraising. And bikers do a ton of freaking fundraising, let me tell you. They do more than a lot of the Catholic charities. They do a lot more than a lot of religious organizations or even government organizations. But that stuff just does not make it in the news because it don't sell papers, as they say. And that's why you see a lot of the bad in the news. And that's why you see, you got guys attached to clubs that are freaking dealing and shit like that. But again, a lot of clubs have bylaws and they don't want the shit near them because this ain't 1970 or 80, like you kind of said, that these clubs are being looked at. Yeah, in those days, shit was on back in the 70s and 80s. I'm not going to even freaking lie. I can't fucking lie. Them were some hardcore boys. Those were the Vietnam generation, and they were wild as fuck. So, but this is 2018, and It's really not like that out there anymore. And for those who say, because I know I get a lot of them guys on here about the clubs, oh, you know, like yesterday's freaking live stream where the guy said, well, you gotta, you know, manufacture meth or, you know, buy meth to buy your way into a club. They full of shit, freaking Leo freaking trolls, man. They know fucking better, and I think and hopefully know that our readership and followership knows better than that. So it was a great question, not your father. I am hoping that you're a Star Wars fan with some shit like that, man. That's kind of cool. Fellow Star Wars fan right here, though. But hopefully I was able to answer your question from my point of view. If you guys have a point of view you like to share, go ahead and make a comment down in the comments section. And let's end this video with a message to my haters. You're a wannabe loser. Well, you know what? Thank you for that. I really thought my haters would come up with some better shit than that. Really, get more creative with your hater emails. They're starting to get boring. You're a wannabe loser. Really? Look at your freaking screen name, for Christ's fucking sakes. Who's the loser? Again, you an ass monkey, you a jacknut, and you're probably a pole smoker of a Leo. So, go sit in the corner, whack yourself off, blow a load, make yourself happy, and get on with your life. If you don't like the channel, then there's the freaking door, as we always say. So, that was the only one I've had. Usually I get a lot more of these, but again, I must be doing something wrong if I'm not being hated on. But anyway, I'd really like to say thanks to Long Rider. He has actually donated, so we put in a big order for the new age of biking and Brotherhood. Now, what's going to happen is when they come in, and they said they're going to be in by the 5th because it went to a different printing, what we're going to do is I'll sign the copies, I'll personalize them to you if you donate to Neon's GoFundMe page or fund. And you'll get a free copy of New Age of Biking and Brotherhood. If you donate $20 or more to his fund, that's just a gift from Long Rider and myself. Again, great supporter. Really appreciate it. And I really appreciate everybody buying the New Age of Biking and Brotherhood. It really feels good that it's being read, that it's really selling its ass off. And it's taking on some pretty big books out there, let me tell you, and it's kicking ass. November 1st, I got the one on Iron Order. You'll probably see at the bottom of the screen. That's November 1st, and that one is an in-depth look at that motorcycle club. And we get into nuts and bolts from the middle ground approach and see why it was the year that it changed the motorcycle club scene. But with that, I really appreciate your guys' support, and any comments, suggestions below, let me know. Talk to you guys later.